Hey guys, it's Roxy here, your favorite rock star realtor locally, and I'm here with my bestest friend Melissa, and she is a local loan officer here, and of course, my assistant.
The cutest assistant.
Oh yes, of course. And we are here to give you a little market update video of what's been going on, because I know there's a lot of fake news headlines out there that's saying that it is absolutely exploding and imploding and is a dumpster fire. But Huntsville is special. It is a beautiful little hidden gem, just like this little location we are currently at. It is called Good Company, and Melissa can also tell you a little bit about it.
Yes, Good Company Cafe is one of my favorite lunch and brunch spots. You guys should come check them out. They're in South Huntsville. Shout out to Angela Oswald for making this adorable little place. Definitely come by.
Yes, definitely. And they are our location for today's video. Okay guys, so as I was saying, real estate is also a very localized thing, so while the rest of the world might be on fire, Huntsville has a very limited supply and huge demand, which is kind of protecting us a little bit here as a safeguard as for that. So this is just a little myth-busting heads-up market update. And I'm here with Melissa so she can give us some insight as for what's happening and what she's seeing in the mortgage side of things, and I can kind of fill in and tell you guys what I've been seeing on as for the real estate side of things. And this is in the middle of April, so we haven't quite got those April statistics back yet, but we do have those March ones, and at the end of the video, we will give a detailed description for all of those data nerds out there for what is actually happening data-wise. Yeah, Melissa, what have you been seeing in the real estate market recently?
Things are definitely picking up. We've seen a lot more contracts, people being under contract and starting their house hunt. We have seen a little bit of a dip in the interest rates. So there was new CPI data that came out on Wednesday. It was lower than last month, so we are going in the right direction. Slowly but surely, we are tracking for that lower rate. There has been a ton of new products that's come available for these first-time home buyers. It's an expensive market. So some of these products are really geared towards people that don't have a lot of money down. It's an expensive time. So Fannie Mae has been offering these new programs, Home Possible, Home Ready, down payment assistance. And not everybody has them, so you got to make sure that you pick a lender that does have them. I'm just going to tell you a couple of products that we do have. A 1% down program that it is income capped. It's a conventional loan, and you actually get 2% for free. So this is different than a down payment assistance through like a government entity or something like that, because usually you don't just have zero down payment. They just give you 2 loans. So you really have to take in consideration what's going to happen maybe the next 6 months to a year. What is that going to look like? Are you going to be able to refinance when the rates come down if you have 2 loans in one? You don't know. So it's important to get yourself in the right loan program up front. So 1% down with 2% for free.
We love free stuff and free information. So thank you, Melissa. That is absolutely fabulous. So are you seeing an increase in mortgage applications recently since the rates kind of went down over in March?
Yes, so I think people are just crawling out of the woodworks just because it's that time of year as well. With a little bit of the dip in the rates, there has been an increase in application volume. You know, everybody is trying to get their credit where they need to be so that they can be buying. Also, schools are about to get out, so everybody's trying to move, get in their schools so that they can be in their new home by August by the time school registration starts. So it's a great time. It's the most important time if you have little ones. But yes, there's been an increase and we're excited about it.
Yes, you look at the actual data of what is happening in the market. Houses are becoming still more expensive. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, even though interest rates are kind of all over the place and everything like that. And I know you said they recently dropped, and do you think the drop had anything to do with what happened with Silicon Valley banks at all?
Yes, definitely. So anytime there's any uncertainty in the market, it usually does drive interest rates down. So when there's more stability, you're going to see increase in rates. But any type of panic is really good for the interest rate. That's why we
love it.
Love the chaos in the mortgage world. So that's when you saw the COVID, those numbers started hitting and interest rates started dropping. It's because people were pulling out of the stock market and then buying bonds. When people buy bonds, that's when the rates go down.
Good stuff there. But yes, guys, so I know you probably saw with what she was saying, and I'll show you data-wise at the end, but interest rates really dropped after that bank crash and everything too, because chaos, everything kind of going on. But the Fed has said that it is expecting to raise rates and everything again, which will probably have not so positive of an effect later.
You really can't get caught up on the interest rates. You'll be crazy.
Yeah, you will literally drive yourself insane. Yeah. For example, I recently had clients that were looking over in the Edgewater community by the Toyota Field Stadium, and I know that area and community is kind of popular and has a higher demand anyway. anyways. But we were over in there, and the average price per square foot was like $166 a square foot. The first house they saw, it ended up going for over $180 a square foot, and we thought that was insane because it wasn't like the house was made of gold or anything like that. This second house we saw, the exact same thing is happening, guys. And the house they're under contract with right now is over $180 a square foot. Yeah, so that's a nice little
That is
fun
encouragement.
tidbit there. I know that is kind of higher than what we're seeing, but they're still, you're seeing around 170 to high 160s. It's
How about
interesting.
Closing costs? Are you seeing people getting
Yes, you are seeing an increase in, if it's not full closing cost coverage, there's a lot of credit backs being given and even displayed and advertised on houses. If you see a house and it says it is offering a credit back, that is like a huge flag that you are probably going to have a lot of negotiating power in that deal. So definitely look into that, because that credit back is probably the like minimum they're willing to offer. I would say you could end up getting a good bit more out of it, or even negotiating price wise. But I know I wanted to have you kind of highlight it.
The temporary buy downs are a big deal right now because it is a lot of savings. It's 100% paid by the seller, which means basically they put this money aside for you, and every single month you have a credit that's applied towards your monthly payment, and maybe you have $300 or $400 off every single month. I've seen it be almost $900 off for the first year every single month. I mean, that's fantastic. So that in turns a lot more savings, and that's what my customer needed at that time.
Yeah.
But if you don't need that, maybe you do get that money and apply it towards closing costs and prepaids and save your cash. Keep your payment, be comfortable with the payment, but also keep that money in the bank.
Yes. So another thing that I always recommend, and she obviously talks with everyone too, is seeing when the money you're going to pay towards lowering that payment is actually going to break even and pay off, depending on how long you're planning on living in the house. And that's another thing to look at too. And the market is looking fabulous, guys, and it's going in great directions, and it is a perfect time to get in, sellers and buyers alike, because we are still at a huge shortage of houses and a huge demand. So we are in desperate need of houses for sale, and sellers, you can definitely get an amazing deal. And buyers, there's also houses sitting on a little bit longer. There's more credits being offered. There's a lot of opportunities to take advantage of really good housing situations. Guys, so I hope this documentary video was helpful to you, and make sure you stop by the Good Company Cafe. They are fabulous, highly recommend, and the lighting is impeccable outside. And continue on for a little bit of data points if you're really into what's kind of going on numbers wise.
Those of you who stayed all the way to the fun data section, here we are. So getting started, we're just going to take a look at kind of what was happening with the interest rates. Keep in mind, this is nationally. Alabama tends to be on the lower end, and this is a national average. So it's probably going to be a little higher than right now, but for the overall trends, it still serves the point as to show what's happening. Basically, when we're looking at what's going on in Madison City, Huntsville, Athens, and Decatur, we're going to see some kind of changes happening in March that we're not going to totally tell the impact of until after we get the stats back from April, which we should have in about 2 weeks. And we're going to see kind of how it all went down. When the banks crashed, they were kind of put in a position where they couldn't exactly jack up the Fed rate, which in turn helped keep mortgage rates lower, and they actually dipped in March. So you'll see this kind of hump here. And right around the bank crash, right in here, you see that it drops pretty dramatically from 7 all the way down to 6.5. And then it kind of raises and drops continuously. And it's kind of steadying off to when it hit a low point right in the beginning of April. So in March, we saw a high peak of buyers entering in the market, 1, for the summer, springtime, and 2, because interest rates got a lot lower, which I am jealous of because I just bought a house last month and got stuck at 6.5, missed it by a little bit. But as you can see, it's kind of rising back up again, but still is hanging around that 6.5. And we're not really expecting it to go back up to 7 anytime soon. And it should kind of coast around there. But taking that knowledge into what was going on in the mortgage rates, let's look at what was happening with the housing stats. Okay, guys, so for the housing stats, we're going to be looking in all kind of price ranges. They're going to be single family homes, all different kind of sizes, but they are going to be previously owned. So this is not new construction. This isn't condos or townhouses or anything like that. So it will kind of refine down our search just a little bit. And this is going to be a year-long line here. And what we're going to look at is a couple major things. We're going to look at your sales price, your month's supply, your price per square foot, and we're going to look at days on market. And we're going to look at a couple different things. We're going to look at the sales price, the month supply, the percent of list price, the price per square foot, and the days on market. Those are the ones that I tend to stress the most. And so coming in here, looking at back in previous March of last year, you can kind of see the numbers here, with the highest being in Madison at almost 360. And then Huntsville is falling behind at 307. Athens coming in at 287, 500. And Decatur is typically your lowest, but they are also one of the highest in new construction. And they were coming in at 222. So now we're going to come down and see what's kind of going on in March of this year. So we see that Madison is now up to 360. Huntsville dropped a little bit, but still not a crazy amount. Decatur went up by 20, and Athens has also went up. So we are seeing that increase still. So the idea that the housing market is going to crash is obviously not the case, and home prices are still appreciating. So definitely keep that in mind. And you can even see here from February coming into March, there was that dip in the Madison area, but there was a rise in almost all the other areas. Nothing astronomical and nothing super crazy. And honestly, you have to keep in mind that there could have just been houses that were way overpriced that needed those price reductions that could have caused that drop in the price range. Because after all, this is an average. So as long as we're not seeing any crazy drops or anything, there's really no red flags thrown here. Into month supply. What your month supply is if no homes are put on the market, when will we run out of houses? So the average market, or a neutral market, where it's not a seller's or a buyer's market, is 6 months. So as you can see here, back in the crazy bidding wars of March of last year, we weren't even at 1 month of inventory, which is insane. And now it is going up, and it's been rising, and it's kind of going up and down and up and down. We're still not even at 2. So we are 1000% still in a seller's market, but we're also 1 month higher than we were last year. So unless your mindset has changed on what you're expecting when selling or buying a house, you are going to be in for a slight shock, because it is not the same market it was last year, but it is by no means a buyer's market yet. Just now, you can get some buyer's incentives and everything too, and we're not seeing houses go for astronomical prices way over the appraisal value. So looking at your percent of list price, if we compare this to last March, we're looking at over 100% and 100% in Decatur and Athens, as they are more on the outskirts of the area. But Madison was pulling in 102.7 on average, which is crazy. And as you can see, it kind of went up for a good little bit here, even going to 103. And then it kind of drops back down when your interest rates are kind of creeping up. And then it kind of has been stabilizing around this 100 mark. And now it's coming back into the spring months. So you see it jump back up from February back to where it is now peaking back to 100 in Madison and Huntsville. And Decatur went down a little, but Athens also went up. So we're seeing kind of an increase in the month of March, which could be in part to do with the mortgage rates and also everyone entering in for the spring market. So we will hopefully see a continuing increase in April, and I do not doubt that at all. Now, price per square foot. Keep in mind in your price per square foot, this is taking into account a lot of different price ranges, a lot of different sizes, and a lot of different square footage. I'll take this with a grain of salt. If you're looking at a certain house that could be in different price ranges, different square footages, and different bedroom sizes, it is going to be a little different. It can be higher and it can also be lower. But as for the area average, this will help show some trends into if the market value of houses are falling or if they're still going up. So looking at previous March, the highest we saw was 163 on the average. Athens and Huntsville were tied at 153, and Decatur was around 119. Now, as you can see, Decatur has been growing in some popularity, as in this graph, you see it kind of rising along with the rest of the areas. As they kind of got bigger, we've had little dips right around the same time that you saw on the previous graphs of when interest rates really kind of started going up. And now as we get down here to the end, we are going to see the home price per square foot actually increased in all areas, showing that home values are still going up. and they went up a good bit from February into March, again, probably in part due to entering the spring market, and also the interest rates were becoming a little bit lower, allowing for more buyers to actually enter into the market and get the home that they prefer. So the housing market is not crashing anytime soon, as we are not seeing any major dips at all, even back when the interest rate was at 7%. So going to our days on market. Now, this graph is a really fun, crazy one to look at, as it gives you a pretty good idea of what kind of went on when interest rates really started taking a turn here. It just looks kind of like a firework and went nuts. So your days on market was absolutely astronomically low, on an average hanging around max 5 days in Decatur, which is wild, guys. Wild. And the fact that the highest this graph goes is even to 30 days is still crazy. So the top of this graph is only a month. So looking at where we're at now, we're only at 14 days in Madison and 24 in Athens being our highest numbers, which is crazy that we're not even hitting that 30 days as an average yet. And basically, the only thing we have to say as for the longer days on market is the fact that if you look at this month's supply, it is a lot higher than before. So right now, buyers just have more houses to choose from. And we're seeing that it is kind of going down in Madison. It went up in Athens and up in Decatur, as they are kind of further out. But your main metro areas in Madison and Huntsville actually decreased a good bit, because we are entering that spring market. So you're having a lot of families moving for school, moving for work, and all of those fun things that just happen during the springtime, bringing in a lot more buyers, still at a lack of supply, as the month's supply have shown. So these days on market are considerably low to what a normal market would be, and your house should definitely sell very fast. But also, buyers are not having to shell out as much money as before and waive all kinds of inspections and just do crazy things to get in a house. They're going to have more houses to pick from than last year, and they'll have more negotiation power to get a house. So it really is a great opportunity, depending on if you are a buyer or seller. There are different ways that you can approach this market to really get the best bang for your buck and to get into a house that you really like. Make sure you take a look at all of these fun stats. If you live in outside areas over in Newmarket or Harvest or Hazel Green or any of those kind of places, and you would like to see what's going on with your housing market or like to see those trends, either hit me down in the comments or shoot me a DM, and I would be more than happy to make a video for you guys as well. And I hope that answers some of your questions out there, as this was just a basic overview. But if you really would like to dive deeper into different price ranges, square footages, or bedrooms, or you would like to be on a CMA update list, which basically keeps you informed about the value of your house, make sure you contact me. My info will be linked below, and I would be more than happy to set you up for free on that. And I look forward to speaking with you guys soon, and I hope this helped.
And make sure you head over to our other video that talks specifically about loan programs that are happening right now. Bye!